Hello and welcome to the final round coverage of the 2019 Idaho State Championship MA40 league card. I am Will Leroy Jenkins.
And I'm Brandon Mook Merzlock. And we're here at Lake Walcott. Lake Walcott has a very old history in Idaho. And when I started playing in 1997, it was one of the first 4 courses in Idaho, and that was it at the time.
So this they have a 27-hole layout for the championship. There's 21 normal holes, and then they do 6 extra holes. And on this league card, we have Brandon Mook Merzlock himself,
Showing off the old Infinite logo.
Brian Hadcock from Mountain Green, Utah.
We got Eddie Armont from Nampa, Idaho. Call him Ace and Eddie.
And then Kurt Myrick from West Jordan, Utah. He did ace in the second round or first round?
It was the first round, and here's Dustin Hood, the Rat. He's not sponsored by anybody.
So, yeah, Eddie did get the ace.
Yeah, so we're on the, like I said, this is like the 55th hole of the tournament. So the week was pretty cold, and here's Colby, our tournament director, announcing the order lineup here. We actually start on hole 7 on the course. So hole 7 is hole 1, 309 feet. It's a par 3. It's a dogleg right. You got to get it out past the trees into the opening to even have a look at the basket. It's tucked in there to the right, so it's in the original position right now.
And obviously, Road and Beyond is OB, so that comes into play if you get it too turned over.
Yep.
And the trees to the right, just you don't want to be in there either.
Yeah, so this is the first time in the whole tournament that I didn't make the corner. I've been playing out to the left on the road just to make sure I have an open shot. If you don't get around that corner, if you were the trees where I was at, then it's a pretty tough up shot from there. So here's Brian from Utah.
I think he's a primarily forehand thrower, from what I can tell from videoing.
Yeah, Brian's a good player. He actually won the A tier, the Twin Falls Classic, a couple months back in the MA40 division.
And
so
you can see he made it around the corner, so he should have a good look up at the basket.
Mm-hmm. And here's Ace and Eddie. So Eddie had his sights set for me. He was pretty aggressive this round. So it looks like he's out in the open as well. The old fist pump.
He's definitely not shy of the camera.
Kurt Myrick, the one person in our division that has a lower PDGA number than I do. So it's like he throws a little turnover shot and he gets pretty close to the road, but
stays in bounds though.
Stay in bounds. That's what matters.
So he has a look over there to the basket. It's a long look, but
I would trade him drives though. I would trade any of these guys drives. And here goes Dustin.
Tries that way out over the road.
There you go.
But
the old Anheuser backhand.
Well, I made the corner.
He gets some good distance on that drive, and he's in pretty good shape there. It'll be a long look at a 3, or a long look at a 2, but an easy 3.
You can see the basket's just in that sun area back between the trees.
Kurt Myrick with his upshot. Looks like a little short. He was probably about maybe 100 feet out there, maybe 120. This is me trying to get around the corner. I don't have many options, so I try a little roller. And luckily, it hits a tree and lands right next to the basket. So I think if that tree wasn't there, it probably would have kept going to the 8 tee pad, and I would have had a much longer look at a par. And here's Dustin, about 60 feet out. So he had a good up. As you can see from the scores in the beginning, I mean, I had, I think, about a 5-stroke lead over Brian going into this round. And then the other guys were even farther back, 7 or 8 back. I was really mostly worried about Brian because you can tell that he's just a solid player. So he gets his putt a little too high there and hits the tree, but you can just tell he's a pretty good player. Maybe had a bad couple rounds, but he's going to come after me this round. And the same with Eddie. Eddie is just super aggressive.
He's a wild card with that aggression. If they're dropping, he can gain strokes quickly. And,
maybe one of those instances where your mind says I'm going for it, but your body doesn't agree.
Yeah.
So this is about 9 o'clock in the morning, so it's a little bit chilly. We're probably all just trying to get our nerves in check after the first hole. You know, I threw my worst drive on this hole, and I was worried about what was going to happen, but it looks like it panned out okay. I didn't lose any strokes. Brian going for par here.
And it is a tricky first hole to start on too, because I mean, if you don't get your anhyzer turned over far enough, it'll fade out and go right on that road.
Yeah, and I've got a pretty decent forearm, so I always try to just get a forearm around. I never try to go directly at the basket. This is me for a 20-footer.
Yep.
It's like I made it
Solid
for the
putt.
par. Yep. I was putting pretty good up until this point, so let's see if that continues. Here's Dustin for his par.
Yep, it looks like everybody's in for a par. We got one more to tap out, but
Yep, and you know, you can see that they got the disc catchers here at Walcott, so they're a pretty solid basket. They've been around for, I don't know, I'm gonna say 12 to 15 years. And here's the standings after hole 1. Looks like I kept my 5-stroke lead. Going into, I'll talk about the baskets a little bit later, but hole 8, it's par 3, 454 feet. It's in the long position.
yeah.
So there's kind of similarities on here as it when hole 7 is you have to get it, you either have to throw it over the trees with a monster drive, or you have to do a dogleg right around a set of trees. And if you don't get around those trees, it can make a pretty tough upshot.
Yeah, and I chose to go down the fairway because if these guys got around those trees, you can't see where they land, and I figured this would be a better angle. So after Brian's shot, Brian's shot here, I do pan over, and you can see these trees that you got to get past. And he just crashed into the early side of them.
Those are the bushes you do not want to be in. It is gel in there. It is tough to get out. Not many options.
And there is a Mando that normally doesn't come into play, but it does protect people from doing a wide hyzer. So that's why you have to play through these trees.
Right. And here comes Eddie with an Anheuser backhand. He makes it up to the field goal trees.
Yeah, he needed just probably another 30 feet, and he would have been on the other side.
Yep, that's right. So here's and going back to my shot, it was another flick that just didn't come out. Just kind of went to the ground, but I've got an open look.
Now Kurt here, he actually gets through those field goal trees, and now he's where you need to be landing.
Yep. So where he's panning now is that you can see that basket down there, and it's well protected. So you have to have a solid drive and a solid upshot to par this hole.
Yep.
It is a tough par 3. Here goes Dustin with his backhand,
Yep,
and he also went in the bushes, but not as bad as Brian's placement, I would say.
he almost made it.
Yeah, he almost made it. So you can see my forearm kind of turned over, never came back, but I still am out in the open, so I have a clear shot to the basket. I'm feeling pretty confident. I've got my Ricky Wysocki Destroyer here, and I'm going to try to throw a turnover shot, which I thought would have been great. It clipped that tree. If it had not clipped that tree, I think I would have been up by the basket, but it clipped it and it came up short.
Yeah, it killed it. So now I'm back on the other side of the trees getting Dustin. And see, they're past the Mando now, so they can do the hyzer up over the trees.
Yeah, if you're back where Dustin is, even like 10 or 20 feet back wherever they're walking, that's a great place to take that backdoor alley and do a hyzer shot around those trees into the basket. So where I threw my upshot is on the other side of these bushes.
Yeah.
You can see Brian's got a tough spot here.
That's Brian's son out there helping him for the first couple holes until he had to go play.
Yeah, Levi Hancock, he's definitely an up-and-comer. I think he finished top 10 at Junior Worlds in Emporia this year.
So he hit the initial gap he wanted, but he ended up clipping a tree, and it didn't carry forward. So he's still stuck on the right side of those bushes.
Yeah, and he was the closest person to me, and so, kind of right now, I'm feeling the pressure of guys charging and getting excited, ready to go, but Brian, who's the closest guy to me, is just, throwing another one in the bushes, so I kind of got my nerves down a little bit after that. And here goes Eddie. Yep. You just got to get around that tree right in front of him because he wants to turn it right, pretty hard after that tree. So,
yeah,
waiting for a truck.
And like I said, he's he's not shy of the camera. He did a little show off of his towel there. I had to keep that in there for him. So he gets down there near the basket. Kurt obviously had the best drive, and he's in great position to get down there.
Yep. So kind of the same as with on hole 7 on his upshot. He throws it up, but it comes up short. The edge of that weeds is probably 30, 35 feet away from the basket, so he's still got an edge of the circle putt to get it in for a par, and here goes Brian.
Yeah, and then I had to run back over here to get his shot, and he hits that tree there. So I ended up missing Mook's upshot because he threw before I can run back through the trees. So we'll see where he landed here shortly. And here goes Dustin. He just gets up there and he'll be tapping in.
Well, I think that's my disc right there, isn't it? That pink one?
Might be.
Yeah, so I actually, I threw an upshot and I hit the pole from about, 100 feet out.
And here comes Brian. This should be his 4th shot.
Yeah, so Brian's trying to save a bogey from where he's at, and again hits a tree.
Man, he's struggling on this hole, but
yeah,
he's a pretty solid player, so he should be able to bounce back.
Yeah, well, I hear he's into landscaping, so I think he's just trying to trim it for all the other disc golfers.
And Eddie in for a par.
Yeah,
that was a beautiful putt.
You see how he rubs the basket like a dog? So he's saying good basket. So and he's a really good putter. He's an aggressive putter. You'll see that a lot this round. There goes Kurt for his 4.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, because we missed his upshot, I believe. Or no, did we get it? I can't remember.
We had an upshot. I think we missed a putt in there.
Yeah.
Here goes Brian for a double bogey.
Kurt can play fast sometimes, and you'll see in it. I missed a couple of his shots later on in the round, but
yeah.
And a lot of these guys, this is the first time they've ever been filmed, so they weren't used to, one guy having to get over in position. But
yeah, we're amateurs,
hey,
40 plus. We're just.
Hey, I wanted to give them some love, so.
So Mookie back to even. And then
Brian moved back 2.
I got a stroke on Brian. I got a bogey on that hole, but I didn't lose any strokes to anybody, and actually gained one on Brian. So here's hole
number. He did
number.
lose one to Eddie with the par.
Oh.
Yep, but that's all right.
Yeah, I missed that.
You getting there?
Here we are, hole number 9. It's in the shortest position, a little over 200 feet, just a straight shot in between the trees.
Pretty much a little ace run hole.
Sexy.
And Eddie does a good job of
ace run.
Trying to ace run it.
Speaking of ace runs, Eddie scaring the chains. So yeah, he was right past those baskets, or the chains. When you ace run like that, you're going to have a long putt to come back for a birdie. And here I am. I'm throwing my rock. This is my McPro rock right up to the basket. I'm sorry, that's my Avery Jenkins Champion rock. So, and I came up about 15, 20 feet short, but I've got a putt in the circle. There's Kurt Meyerk.
Oh. And he slips on a tee pad and didn't get the full release on it.
Yeah. So you go left of that big pine tree, and you've got a low ceiling putt over there.
Thankfully, he stayed in bounds. He didn't get all the way to the path, which is pretty easy to do if you do go left.
Here's Dustin with his backhand. It's low, but it's squeaking up there.
And he's
right up there on that basket. So he's looking at a birdie putt as well. And then Brian wanting to come back after that last hole and hit a birdie and show what he's got.
This was the nicest day that we had out there too.
Yeah, it was. So the Friday was the coldest, and every day got better weather-wise. So this was definitely the best day.
Good shot.
So Brian's a big MVP thrower, and I'm not sure what he's throwing there, but he went right over the basket. It looks like he has a great shot at a look at a 2.
And yeah, as you can see, the branches are pretty low here.
Yep.
But he gives it a decent run and puts it underneath the basket.
Yeah, right in line. And here goes Eddie with his ace run. He's trying to battle back for that birdie. About, 30, 40 feet out.
He was outside. I think he was outside the circle.
Outside the circle. So
he was.
Let's see how he does on this putt.
Yep.
Boom.
Wow.
Runs it down. He knew it was in.
Yep.
So, yeah, nice putt, Eddie, for birdie. So
you can tell his excitement, too. Watch this.
We got our Jenkins replay. Very nice. Just right in the middle of the chains. Very good. Eddie's from Boise. He's a solid player. he's getting pretty close to be ready to play MA50 division. So, but he might just be in the 40 division for a lot longer. There's more competition in there, and he's definitely got the skills to take that down.
Dustin making the birdie look easy there.
Yep, nice putt, Dustin. And Brian for a birdie.
You can tell Eddie's pumped back there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's excited. So as we watch Brian put in this birdie putt.
There he
nice
goes.
putt.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if he made that or not.
Yeah, good bounce back.
Eddie tied me the first round, and he pretty much stayed with me the whole tournament except for the 6 holes that he let his wife caddy for him. This is me for a birdie putt, and I'm going to be putting with my Streamline Electron Soft Pilot. Love that putter. And his wife left and said,
Is that a Kessler Martin spotting back there?
Yep, this is Kessler Martin, took second place, Infinite Disc sponsored, and employee.
Yeah.
Yep, Kurt Myrick for the par.
Didn't mean to cut you off, but I saw him back there. I'd probably give him a shout out.
Yeah, you're fine.
So, yeah, maintaining your 6-shot lead, and Eddie closes, or kept with pace
Kept
there.
pace up with me, yep.
So,
That shot is on hole 12 that we're seeing on that leaderboard. That's a beautiful shot at Lake Walcott Reservoir. Now this is hole C, so this is actually an added hole. And now in the position today, it's got a double island, so you have to make it across the parking lot into that island, or you can go for the second island, which is probably 350 past that hill. Very few people go for it, but you can see between those 2 trees that there's a double mandatory, and I throw a flick. I barely make it in bounds. I'm in the trees on the right, but I'm in bounds. There's a drop zone if you don't make the double mandatory. There's a drop sign if you don't make the island.
Eddie did make the island.
Eddie made the island.
Yep. Dustin is OBA.
Yep. So he actually, I think he hit the tree and bounced right into the road.
It could have went either way, and he got the negative way.
So he made the mandatory, so he actually go to a closer drop zone that's right in the middle of the first island. So he should have a decent chance to get to the second island.
And try to scramble for the par.
Here goes Brian. Another flick from Brian.
You got that one just a little turned over.
Yeah, so he's down below the island there. And he just turned it over a little bit. He put too much on it and just kept on going, unfortunately. But he did make the Mando. So he'll be at the closer drop zone.
Dustin.
Yeah, looks like Kurt's going to throw a backhand here. And he hits the road, and he gets some luck, and there's some drama, and it skips right back in bounds.
He's so funny.
And that's how you make a disc golfer happy. So you can see the basket now down there. Just past that picnic table is where the line starts on that island. So you got to get it past that picnic table. The lines go from pretty much the wall on the left to the road on the right.
And that's a great looking shot from Dustin. Put himself into saving his par range.
Yep, very good. This was a par 4, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a par 4.
So if you just play it safe, island to island, and put it in, you got a pretty easy birdie. There's a chance for an eagle too, but that's pretty tough. So Brian with his upshot here, he may have scared the island, but it came up short, landed in the picnic area. He's OB again.
He'll progress to the next drop zone for the second island.
This is me throwing my Infinite D-Blend Tomb.
Is that the eyeball stamped one?
Yep, the eyeball stamped one, and I'm right up next to the basket. I thought about doing an Anheuser flick on the other side of that tree, and I'm glad that I chose the backhand. And here's Eddie at a great shot. Yep. It's really formality at this point.
Yep.
So he gets up there right in the island.
Definitely in range. So here's the other drop zone.
Yeah.
So he'll be going for 5 from here. There was lots of bugs flying around, so every now and again the camera picks up a bug and wants to focus in on it.
Good bid from Brian.
Yeah, that was.
But it looks like he's probably had a birdie sandwiched between 2 double bogeys. So kind of a rough start for Brian.
Nice birdie.
Yeah, Kurt hitting that putt, feeling good. Got the lucky bounce in the island, then hits the putt for a birdie, very nice. And here goes Dustin for a par. Very nice
Yeah,
par.
good save, good save.
So on these alternate holes, we get to switch from the disc catchers over to the DGA baskets. Well, some are DGA, I think some are veterans.
Yeah, you'll tell the difference when we go through them.
Yeah,
But
I mentally, it didn't bother me any.
No.
But I was parked right next to the basket. You can see my disc there, so I didn't really have to worry about it.
no.
But
Yeah, and
but I'm sure some of the pros are probably made comments on that there were different baskets out there. But overall, it's a well-run tournament. I had a lot of fun. Kobe did a great job. It's his third year, I believe, directing, or I think so.
yeah, I think it is.
His third year directing, and he's just done a great job. So while these guys are putting out, I mean, first place in Open took home $1,300 plus $1,300.
Yep.
Mas-
1100 for Masters.
Yeah,
right?
Masters took home over $1,100, which is amazing.
There's-
Here's my youngest kid, Calvin, caddying for me. So it looks like I got I got actually 2 strokes on Brian, and then Eddie kept pace with me there.
Yep.
So here on hole 10, and it's in the long position. It's another tough par 3. 430 feet, and the basket's pretty protected. It's over to the left. If you go to beyond that path on the right, you're actually out of bounds, and you take it where it goes out of bounds. And there actually is an OB line on the left as well.
Yep.
So for me, I just play a backhand to where the short placement is, which is where the path's V, and then that gives me a pretty good look to the basket. It still makes me execute an upshot. This is my streamlined trace. It's a neutron trace. It's something a little more stable that I can trust is going to come back and not go selling over the path on the right. It looks like I ended up right where I wanted to be, right next to where the short basket placement is. Kurt's going to try to do the same thing, and he gets the fade as well. And he's pretty close to me. He's a little shorter than I am, which might make that upshot a little tougher because there's more trees back there.
Yeah, the aggressive shot is to throw down the same line, but with a longer disc and get across the path.
Right.
And it's just a tough.
Yeah, and I actually try to go for that. I actually try to get, as much left as I can. I threw it a little bit lower than I wanted, but I'm pretty confident that I'm not, the chances of landing on the path are pretty slim. So I feel like if I can just throw that shot and let it do its thing, whether it's low or high, it's going to be in a place where I want it to be.
I think Dustin landed in a decent place because if you do get left over there, closer to the left OB, there isn't a line up to the basket through the trees. It's a little tougher than if you get to the right side, but
This is our only flick, Brian flicking. And he actually caught the trees and dropped down. I believe there is an OB line there, but I believe he did stay in bounds.
He did stay in bounds.
So this is Brian for his upshot. Yeah, you can see that OB line on the left past the picnic table. So he's going to be flirting with that on his next shot.
But he turned it into the tree, so he saved. He didn't go OB, but
Yeah, I'm not sure. Brian's such a good player. I'm not sure if he just didn't drink his V8 this morning or what. But he's definitely not on target, which is not good for him. Here's Eddie with his upshot, and you can see the basket looks like that peters off to the left a little bit. Not enough to go OB, but not exactly where you want to be.
no.
And here's a third flick from Brian. Let's see how he does. So it was a great line, just low. So he didn't get it.
So
all
this
the
is
way
where
up there.
what we're talking about. If you get a little left, you get a little pinched. But he
Yep.
did do a great job of getting around there.
Mhm. Yep.
So.
This is where I take off my jacket and show the Mook logo on the back. Infinite Disc Tour. So this is my slab. It's a C-bun slab, and it replaced my ape when I came over to Infinite. But you can see it's got all the beefiness that I need to throw an Anheuser utility upshot. Dustin with a backhand.
Yep. What he got down there.
And there's the park staff in the back.
Raz and Eddie.
Props out to the Lake Walcott staff. They just open their arms to disc golfers every year, and they are awesome to work with. So, Eddie running down that putt again.
Good look though. Good
great
look.
Putt.
Yeah.
Great putt. I think he thinks if he can run it down and laser it down with his eyes, it might go in. Or maybe he's got a magnet or something.
Yeah.
Some fishing line.
I don't know, but.
So Brian for, I believe this is bogey.
Yeah.
And gets it up near the basket.
You can see Kurt came up just a little short on that upshot.
Yeah, maybe about 30, maybe it circles edge there. Going for par.
Get it.
Oh, just
Good look, just a bit outside. And here's Dustin with the straddle putt. He's got to get around that low-hanging tree there.
No,
This is one of the new placements at Walcott. It's only been here a year, maybe a little bit more than a year, but it does make it.
So second tournament, Idaho State Championship that they've played them in that position. So
Right.
it's, yeah.
And that's me for my par, cleaning
Yep.
up.
Great par. And you executed the way you wanted to on that.
Yeah, I actually played that hole exactly the same yesterday. Exactly the same placement. I put the drive, I knew exactly what I was doing. Just executed everything I wanted to do and taking a 3 on that hole. Obviously you can see, the bogey. I took a stroke on everybody on that card, maybe 2 on Brian.
Yep.
And so I'm cruising so
Yep.
far.
You got that stroke back from Eddie that he got on you
Yeah.
earlier in the round. So
there we are. Mook's at -2, and he's got 9-stroke lead.
well, there's a pretty good battle in that second to fifth place
Yeah.
position right now, and nobody's really out of it. There's a lot of golf left.
Yeah, especially when you're playing with me, because I can switch gears on a, at any time. This is hole 11, and this is the first hole that I ever aced in the year 2000. And I threw a pretty decent shot right there. This basket's in the long position, which is farther to the right back there. But I'm pretty sure that if it was in the short position, that probably would have been my 3rd ace on that hole.
Yeah, it was right. It was right up next to that.
I could say with confidence that would have gone in the basket and stuck for sure. Yeah. Yeah. What disc did I ace with? You ask? I heard that from the phone call. It was an Eagle. It was a CE Eagle.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Back in 2000.
That's right.
So it looks like Kurt got up there past the idea is you got to get past that tree that's up there to the right on the right side of the fairway. That's your goal.
I don't know if it was a CE Eagle actually. It was an Eagle, maybe not a CE. I don't think the CEs came out until later.
And
Dustin
then,
Hood with the flick, and the flick's really the play if you're right-handed on this hole, because after that tree, you can see the tree in the middle of the fairway. Hitting that tree is like a rite of passage at Walcott. If you haven't hit that tree, you really haven't played Walcott. So it's taken a beating from disc golf over the years, but that fairway right there has just gotten tighter and tighter and tighter. So
Brian goes a little long on. If you get a little long up there, you still have a look back to the basket, but you do start bringing that OB road in play.
right, you bust through those trees, and you can definitely find OB.
Dustin's looks like a pretty good upshot, but he went a little long to the backside. But he did stay inbounds on that. He did get back across onto the inbounds. Eddie hits a little tree branch, gave him a little love there. I think he parked it, if I remember right.
Yeah, he's up to the basket. So you can see Brian made it past the trees. He's not out of bounds, but he does have to navigate through the trees there. You can see he's pretty dominant forearm.
Yeah, and I thought he had a great up there, and it just rolled away a little bit, but he's still within range.
That basket's in a pretty tight spot, so you can go out of bounds easily if you're not on target that way. Here goes Kurt.
And that was his drive, so he has a look at that one and definitely was near the short basket.
Right.
And then here I had a little camera technical
So I'm
difficulty.
about 35 feet out, but my putt goes straight into the chains.
Yep.
So I was on with my putting. That's a birdie for me. Dustin
runs it.
Dustin sees my birdie and says, I need to make this, and unfortunately blows past the basket and goes OB. So
he's lining up his putt. Great putt. Yep, that could have been worse, and he made that putt.
and Eddie with his par. It's a great par. Most
Yes.
times that's all you want to do on that hole. I mean, honestly, birdies on this hole, for me, come few and far between.
In this position.
In this position,
Yep.
yeah. So it is a tight fairway. You got to keep that drive low, and you got to make sure it turns right. So
Hey.
Brian finishes with
Par.
a par.
Yeah.
Very good. So maybe getting some confidence there.
Yeah. But now you have a 10-shot lead.
The lead is mounting. So we're going into hole 12, which is in a middle position. This is a new placement too. I've got a first run star TL3, and I just throw it straight. That's all I want it to do is go straight. You can see that's what it
If
does.
you skip left of this basket, it's not very far to the water's edge. I mean, if you go in the water on an ace run, you'll probably still save a 3 because it's that close. But
Yeah.
Right.
Turn a
and
bit.
then
Eddie with his
Yeah.
backhand drive gets right up to the
Nice.
basket too. So we've got 2 in the circle up there, and here's Kurt eyeballing his birdie. Let's see if he gets it up there.
That'll work.
Looks like it's turning just right where it needs to be
Yeah,
in front
a
of
little
that pine
high.
tree.
Thanks.
but he's in range.
Yeah, it gets a little high five from Brian, who says, I want to do that too. And you can see Brian's backhanding now, so let's see how his backhand works out for him. So I didn't see his drive, but off of memory, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
Brian.
We'll find out where it's at. Sometimes,
Yeah, well,
sometimes
Spoiler
different
alert,
color,
we'll find out soon.
yeah,
Here's
different color discs are hard to track sometimes.
Dustin skipping over towards the
Yeah.
water. He actually went down into the rocks.
But he is safe, and there's where Brian's
Yeah,
driving. I
Brian.
think he hit that tree. That's why we didn't see it finish.
There you go. So he's got himself a 50 or 60 foot jump putt here. He's gonna try to hit. There's a hill behind the hill, so if you blow past it, it's not too bad. That was a great bid from
Yeah.
Brian. So you can see Dustin is close to the water, but
He is
remained
in
in
bounds.
bounds, and it should be a pretty easy straddle putt through the trees for a bird. I mean, if I were a guessing man, I would think that this hole is probably the easiest hole on the course.
Yeah.
This is a tougher position, but it's usually even shorter than this hole. And this is one of the few holes at Lake Walcott that has, maybe the only hole that has any water hazard at all.
Yeah. I mean, because hole 14, when we get to it, the water should never come into play, but
Well, they turned 14 into an island, so
Yeah.
the water really,
yeah,
you might go in the water, but it's not gonna.
that should never be in play. But
Not gonna
but
matter.
you could. I've seen people turn one over.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to 12, and we're just doing some formality cleanup here on some birdies, and yeah, so 4 birdies and a par, and even that par was a good look at it. Yeah, Brian's got this par.
So I believe everybody birdied, and Brian got a 3
Yep.
on this hole.
Yep.
So heading on to hole 13, which is another one I've aced a couple times. Looks like I've still got my 10-stroke lead there. So hole 13 is an island hole, and they've actually moved it to the right, which is a new position. It's actually closer to the edge of the circle instead of right in the middle of the island. I'm going to throw a rock right at it. It comes out a lot more aggressive than I thought it would. And it blows past the basket and goes on the back side of the island. I'm actually out of bounds. And from the drop zone to that basket, it's going to be hairy.
It's like 70 feet with only 15 feet to the.
If that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here goes Eddie with his shot.
And that is textbook.
So yep, and Eddie's got it right up there. Nice shot, Eddie. Should be a pretty easy bird from there. So with me going out of bounds and him sitting at a bird, that's an opportunity to catch up a little bit here on this hole. Yeah, this hole is a signature hole at Walcott because of the elevated island and the island, play that it is.
Yeah, and he gets a nice little skip there.
Yep, Kurt, nice little backhand there. A lot of times, if you can just get it up to the grass, that disc will skip where you need it to be. But where the basket where it is, it's going to make any putt a little more frightening
Yep.
than the original placement. Here goes Dustin with the backhand.
Yeah.
And he makes island just fine.
That's really all you want to do is just get it up there.
You're almost guaranteed a 4 from the drop zone. Almost guaranteed.
Right. Yeah, and where this spot is, it's definitely hairier. But what's happened over the years at Walcott is the trees have just grown in.
Mm-hmm.
And so the gap above the wall here and below the tree makes it really hard to hit.
Yep. It's getting lower and lower
But
every
Brian,
year.
proves he can backhand on top of his flick and gets it up on the island. I'm the only one who didn't make the island.
And you can look at this drop zone and just see how hairy that is.
And I'm not even going for it. I'm just laying it up short in the circle so I can get my form move on.
Didn't that float a little bit on you too? More than...
No, it actually came up with shorter than I thought
Okay.
it was, because I thought I played it a little aggressive, and it was actually short of the basket. So you can see what kind of a death putt this is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
He gave it a great run.
Yeah, he gave a good bid, but it looks like he might have more laid it up than anything. We'll see what Dustin does here. Man, Dustin's just an outlaw. He just goes after everything, and because of it, he went out of bounds, didn't he?
I don't...
I think so.
I didn't put the graphic up there, so if he did, I missed it. But
Gotcha. He may not have,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure. But I think he did. And here's Eddie with his birdie putt. It's a great drive. Will he run it down? That is the question. Oh!
dang.
And Eddie misses the putt. So it looks like he still stayed in bounds. But still gets a stroke on the lead. But I bet you he was wishing that he would have got 2. Alright, and then I make my putt for bogey. So I'm putting with that Electron Soft Pilot from
Yeah.
Streamline.
Yeah,
I recommend it.
So he did go OB. I just missed the graphic.
Yeah, so Dustin went OB there, and so he came up with a bogey. But you did get the bogey on there.
Yep.
So, and there's Brian with his tap-in par, which puts me almost to the back of the tee box. That's a beautiful shot there from hole 13. So my lead's down to 9. It looks like there's a tie at third. And here we are.
Okay. Come on, baby. Yep.
Yeah, he gets that turned over just a little bit, but he got in island. It came back for him.
Yeah, so this is number 14 at Walcott, but the 7th hole that we play. And
Ninth hole.
9th hole.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The graphic said hole 7.
Oh my
So,
God.
oh, that's true.
Hey.
I
like grip lock that so bad.
So Kurt with the backhand. Kurt's feeling lucky. Somehow made it in the island. I can't even tell you how. I was there, and my mouth was wide open because he was in. So and Eddie was in, and this is another island hole. So 2 island holes in a row. Kobe found that this was actually the easiest hole statistically on the course, and so he wanted to make it a little bit tougher, and so that's what the island is for. It's got a backstop on it.
It's got a back. It's 3/4 of the island has the wall. There's a little spot in the back right corner that doesn't have it. So you could go, in theory, go back there out the back side of the island.
Looks like Brian just makes it in the wall there. So I don't think that line really comes into play unless you're throwing like a straight arrow shot or an Anheuser or a flick. But most people are backhanding, and that I don't think that comes into play too much.
No.
So I throw my champion rock here, and I just saw it off.
Yeah, Eddie's was actually pretty close to going out the back side.
Yeah, so
But-
that's 2 holes in a row. Apparently I'm not good at islands today that I go OB, and now I'm going to have to take it from the drop zone. Here goes Dustin. Dustin with his backhand. It's got to settle down there, and it
Nice,
does.
yeah.
Finds that pocket. There's a lot of people that go over there. So this is my putt from drop zone. I don't know, 50,
Yeah.
50-ish feet to save par here, and so I'm going to go for it. Why not? And I put it right in the basket. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a Streamline putter pilot. You need to go get one because it works. Is it the Archer or the Arrow?
Here's the replay.
Little jump putt. I don't jump too aggressively on my putts, but that is dead center. That is saving par
Yep.
after going out of bounds on the
I
island.
think Eddie was thinking he's gonna get one on you there.
Oh yeah, watch my little hop here.
or get two, maybe even two on you. You know, depending on if he makes that birdie putt or not. And then, yeah. So
I'll tell you what, for a 42-year-old guy, that hop over that fence is a scary jump. So here's Dustin for birdie. And he's going after everything. Unfortunately, he's just not finding metal.
Yeah.
And that's hurting him. He's trying to hone down his putt, but he's also trying to be aggressive too. And
I think he was trying to keep his position from a guy on the chase card.
yeah, he kept mentioning, you know, hopefully I don't drop through the chase card, but hitting your putts would help.
Yeah.
But just not falling for him, at least not on this hole. There's Brian for birdie.
There might have been a little side bet there between him and another competitor. Who knows? Well, hits metal, so
Yep,
at
hits
least
the
he
band.
drops right there. And see how close Eddie came to going out the backside.
Yep. He's going for birdie.
But he got it.
Eddie gets birdie. Very
So
nice.
your putt saved you from going down
Taking the
two
two strokes. Yeah, so he did me a favor on hole 13, or the last hole, and then I hit that putt on this hole, and it saved me 2 strokes between those two holes. So here's Kurt. Like I said, it hit that tree, but it found a way in for birdie. Into the putt. Very good, Kurt. And that's
I must have missed a graphic there too.
That's a feeling good birdie right there.
Good birdie.
So and Dustin with his comeback putt for par here. Kicking up the grass, eyeballing the chains. Boom! Hits, oh dang, a little too low. Hits the cage. But that's the way the cookie crumbles.
So that concludes the front nine of 2019 Idaho State Championship final round. So we'll come back, catch us back on the middle nine.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah. And if you haven't had a chance, when you're out in Idaho, come visit this state park and you will thoroughly enjoy the disc golf.
Beautiful.